Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. Thanks for joining us. Queen Elizabeth has been laid to rest.
I'll remember like most people, fair, honest, no opinion.
She was like a sister to me, even though I've never met her.
One of our granddaughters had actually made a little sign to thank the Queen for her service, and so we wanted to put those down.
Britain and the world have said a final goodbye to Queen Elizabeth II. Her state funeral today drew presidents and kings, princes and prime ministers, and crowds who massed along the streets of London to honor her and her 70 years on the throne. CBC's Thomas Dagler was there.
It was a day planned for decades, but also one that many in Britain could never imagine. As Queen Elizabeth's coffin draped in the royal standard was brought to Westminster Abbey, it all became real. London hasn't seen this many foreign dignitaries assembled in the same place for generations. And the royal family has never mourned a monarch who served for this long.
We come to this house of God, to a place of prayer, to a church where remembrance and hope are sacred duties. Here, where Queen Elizabeth was married and crowned, we gather from across the nation, from the Commonwealth, and from the nations of the world, to mourn our loss.
Former British prime ministers have all said they counted on Elizabeth's wise words. 15th in the Queen's reign, Liz Truss only got one audience before the monarch's passing.
Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me.
As emotional and symbolic as the funeral was, some of the most striking scenes were still to come. With the gun carriage transporting the Queen's coffin across central London, her family followed. Crowds lined the route to say their final goodbyes as Elizabeth left London one last time. The hearse taking the motorway for Windsor, where the Queen lived as a child and again through the pandemic. The 5-kilometer-long walk leading to the castle served as the backdrop as locals who considered her a neighbor and royal fans from abroad all came to view the Queen's coffin. Carefully carried up the west steps of St. George's Chapel and into the committal service.
We have come together to commit into the hands of God the soul of his servant Queen Elizabeth.
The Dean of Windsor led the service. The Queen knew him and this 15th century Gothic church where she came to worship. The same place she witnessed weddings and the funeral of her beloved husband just last year. None of those moments were like this one. As the royal jeweler removed the ornate instruments of state, the monarch's orb and scepter and the imperial state crown, it signaled the end of the era of Queen Elizabeth II. King Charles watched with his time as monarch only beginning. His reign won't eclipse his mother's, and this day reminded everyone of its magnitude.
The Queen's final resting place is next to that of her late husband, Prince Philip. This place has seen 1,000 years of royal history, and this moment is as significant as any. Thomas Dagler, CBC News, Windsor, England.
City Hall hosted a live viewing in our Windsor this morning. A handful of people showed up holding umbrellas as the rain fell, and it started at 5:45 this morning. And those who sat through the viewing told CBC that it was their way of honoring the Queen. And not just in Windsor, but across the country, Canadians were up before dawn to pay their respects to Queen Elizabeth. Some gathered at provincial ceremonies and in theaters, while others cooked an English breakfast and watched her funeral at home. The CBC's Kayla Hounsell followed their day.
It was something 96-year-old Pearl Kavanagh just could not miss.
And it's very sad, and I'm very touched. And I don't know if I'll ever get over it.
Born in Guyana, then a British colony in the same year as Queen Elizabeth, she feels a special connection to the monarch.
She was like a sister to me, even though I've never met her.
Her niece moved to tears.
I remember, Mom.
Because the Anglican ceremony so closely resembled that of her mother's. She prepared an English breakfast fit for a queen.
Well, this represents our British heritage, and this is one way of being close to the Queen at this time.
In living rooms and kitchens across the country, Canadians woke early to mourn their monarch.
It's emotional, and it's history.
In Newfoundland, Carla Conway has been a collector of royal memorabilia since she was a child.
I felt it was the need to be involved in some small way to watch it because she was our queen.
At this historic theater in St. John, New Brunswick, visited by then Prince Charles in 1996, people came together to watch.
An opportunity that once in a lifetime to see a funeral of this stature on the big screen.
In Halifax, a multi-faith service open to the public.
I met her and had the chance to speak to her, so it touches my heart, and I just feel we need to be here today.
And a 21-gun salute. A nationwide send-off that included both pomp and pageantry and quiet moments of mourning.
No, I should say goodbye to her, but she will still be reigning in my heart.
With some families finding it difficult to let go of a queen that felt like family. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Halifax.
A Windsor woman was in London today. She and her husband had planned a holiday back in the spring, and it happened to coincide with this historical event unfolding. The Queen had died just before they began their trip, so they came ready with a special note from a grandchild to honor the late monarch.
I mean, literally, we were walking into a historical event. Yesterday, we walked to Buckingham Palace, and there were just like tens of thousands of people there. We had bought some flowers, and we wanted to lay flowers down. Plus, we had one of our granddaughters had actually made a little sign to thank the Queen for her service, and so we wanted to put those down. But we were kind of moved from one place to another. There were no more flowers in the Green Park, which is closest to Buckingham Palace. They had closed access to Buckingham Palace, so we could only see it from kind of crossing a street with all the flags. And then we did double back to Hyde Park, and that's where we put our flowers down and our sign. And then today we went out. We knew that we didn't go down where the Westminster Abbey was, the service, but we did. We were looking to be part of where the funeral procession was passing. And so we were near Cromwell Road, I think. We're not too great with the street names here. And we did see King Charles's procession go by. And we also saw at kind of a match, another corner, the Queen's hearse went by. So we were not expecting to be able to see very much, but we felt very lucky. One thing I always respected about her was the way that she honored veterans. My father was a pilot in World War II. He joined the RCAF and was seconded to the RAF. So he had very fond memories of his navigator, who was British, and his family really took him in. But she never forgot veterans, and she never forgot the Commonwealth veterans. So I always greatly respected and admired her for that.
With the Queen's passing, some in our community are finding comfort in a British shop in Essex, Blimey's. The owner himself happened to be in the UK visiting family when the Queen died. He says witnessing the emotions has been overwhelming, and he's grateful to have his shop as a piece of home in times like these.
It was surreal. You know, everyone kind of was expecting it because she'd not been well, but it's still a shock to the system. And clearly, you know, people are very distressed on what's going on right now in the UK. It was surprising, the emotions that were coming out of people. But 70 years, most people, that's all that they've known. She's been the constant. You know, so prime ministers come and go, countries change hands. But, you know, she was always there. And so that kind of stability, and people were concerned that that may get lost. So now we have to see how King Charles steps into the role. I hope that he continues on the legacy of his mother, and that the Commonwealth can stick together, although I think that's going to be a challenge. but I think he'll be a good king. It's like a little piece of home. You know, most of what we have in the store is imported from the UK. So from clothing to food and people, it becomes a comfort zone. So we've had this last week, you know, most of our regular customers come in and just want to talk. They just want to express their feelings. You know, they're all expressing their grief and really just saying, you know, she's been there so long. And so it's that rock, that stability that's kind of gone. One of our customers brought this in. This was all actually shot in Canada when just after her coronation.
And you've been getting questions about memorabilia. So what conversations are you having around that?
Well, we did have a lot of things for the Queen's Jubilee. So we quickly, while I was in the UK, I quickly followed up with a supply chain there. Most of them seem to have been caught off guard. They're still working with limited staff. They lost a lot of staff during COVID that they haven't been able to replace. Same kind of thing here in Canada where we've got shortages. And so now most of them are stating that it's going to be next year, and it'll probably be after the coronation where things will come out for King Charles, and at that time there'll be memorabilia for the Queen. I've lived most of my life in Canada now, but my mom's still there and my family's still there. I'll remember like most people, fair, honest, no opinion, always there, reassuring. When times were tough, you could count on her to come with the Queen's speech, kind of settle everything down. And I think that's what will happen again with Charles.
Now we're going to switch gears here to a very different kind of story. A big moment this weekend. We finally had a chance to watch a mouth-watering documentary that had a local premiere nearly a year ago.
My name is George Calivas, and I'm here to introduce you to the pizza city you never heard of.
Hold on a second. Talk to me about the shredded pepperoni. The notorious shredded pepperoni. Shredded pepperoni.
A pizza doc that is the talk of town. The pizza city you never heard of. A documentary exploring Windsor's pizza scene. There was a screening at Lakeshore Cinemas back in December of last year, but now everyone is able to stream it wherever they want. It debuted on CBC Gem this weekend, and Windsor Morning host Nav Nanwa caught up with one of the filmmakers this morning.
Windsor Pizza represents the family essence that the city has to offer. It represents tradition. So not only is it a product that we all love, but ultimately it represents something more. It represents a piece of our culture. You know, Windsor Pizza is a part of our daily lives. The owners of these pizzerias are massive pillars of the community. And it's just another level of appreciation that we have for them, further than just, you know, fast food takeout.
Someone who's been in the Windsor pizza game forever, who's had family that's been involved in this game forever, what does a documentary like this mean to you personally?
I was really taken by the fact that they were doing it truly as a labor of love, and something that they felt deeply and strongly about. Yeah, customers' reactions have been great. I've been taking a look on social media as well. The reaction's been awesome. The one lady in particular said, you know, I grew up on Capri and Arcata, which are featured in the movie. They were my dad's original places, and now they come to Antonino. So they've kind of progressed in the long history of my dad's pizza tradition along with us.
After watching the documentary, it really felt like it was about more than just pizza. I saw a lot about family, tradition, community. Why were those things important to highlight?
So the one thing I knew for sure was, you know, not only did people not know about Windsor Pizza, I don't think a lot of people knew about Windsor. Like, this was going to be put on the forefront in front of potentially tens of thousands of people all over North America, and I needed to show, you know, the culture behind the city as a whole. The buzz up until the release has been incredible, but you truly don't know how many people are following along until something like this comes out. And to say the least, we've really felt the impact over the last 2 days, and it's been incredible. The one thing too is, like, we just want to be a part of the conversation. Like, when you start putting together top 10s and top 15s and top 20s, like, Windsor definitely deserves to be there. Not only for the quality of the pizza, but the culture that surrounds it. Like, we've had traditions that stem back 70 years, and people need to know about it. And I will say that, you know, over the past 90 days especially, A lot of top-tier US media have been reaching out. So the main goal for us since day one was to cause a ripple effect in coverage of the region and hope that these stories start filing in within the content calendars of these different places and starting to happen now.
Open streets shut down roads in Windsor yesterday for one of the city's most beloved festivals.
How much do you like open streets?
A lot.
The roads were packed as the community came together and the joy was palpable.
It's been a fun day. We got all of this, chips, with my little sister and my brother. It's been very fun.
It's wonderful to enjoy our community and share everything together. Yeah.
It's fantastic. I love the community. I love seeing everyone on their bikes enjoying themselves, meeting their neighbors. It's been really fun. What's your favorite thing about today?
Biking around and seeing all the cool tents.
You get to bike around and mostly see a lot of your friends.
And big thanks to everybody who came to say hello. It was so nice to meet you. Your weather is coming right up. Dahlia Ashry joins now for a look at our local weather forecast. Dahlia, how is it looking?
Well, Katerina, I mean, yesterday was nice. Today, it's all right, not bad. And that's because of the humidity that's sticking around. And it's the last few days of summer because you know what? Fall's around the corner. It's on Thursday, but that humidity is sticking around in those dry conditions. But like I said, rain is on its way, which we'll get to in a bit. Let's talk about the daily stats. The normal highest time of year is 21 degrees. Currently 29 degrees in Windsor, and the normal low is 11 degrees, and today's low is 19 degrees. That means that we're sitting well above the seasonal temperatures for this time of year. That's why it still feels warm out there. Windsor currently 27 degrees, a little bit cooler out in Goderich, 20, and Kitchener 21. Chatham-Kent's a little warmer there as well, 25 degrees. Now we factor in that humidity, and that's the warmer conditions that we're talking about. 30 degrees in Windsor, still feeling like summer with that humidity. Sarnia 27 and Goderich 24. Now, are we expecting any rain in the days to come? The answer is yes, and we'll get to that in just 1 second here. We won't see the rain really until Tuesday evening. You can see there's some heavy activity right there. The low pressure is still sticking around, and then that will continue. And then Wednesday, 2 p.m., we see again a risk of a thunderstorm and some heavy rain right there. Now that will clear up, and then we'll see it come back again on Thursday. Some scattered showers at 5 p.m., and that should continue for the next little while, but more so dry conditions for tomorrow. Now, tonight, temperatures will drop to 15 degrees, so much cooler, and Leamington 14, Chatham-Kent much cooler at 13 degrees, and London 12 degrees. Now, there's a severe thunderstorm watch for Niagara region and St. Catharines and Oshawa for today, so we're keeping an eye on that. Like I said, tomorrow, dry conditions, looking like summer still. Wednesday, it feels more like 39 degrees, so much more humid on Wednesday compared to tomorrow. And then Thursday, first day of fall, still looking like summer, but you still have a little bit of those damp conditions starting to peek through. Katerina?
Thanks so much for that, Dahlia.
Thanks, Katerina.
When we come back, another look at how people are saying goodbye to Queen Elizabeth. Stay with us. It has been a long day of solemn ceremonies marking the death of the Queen. Her state funeral was held today. Thousands of dignitaries attended from around the world. Hundreds of thousands of people lined the route that led from the funeral service at Westminster Abbey to her final resting place at Windsor Castle. Here are some of the sights and sounds of the day.
We gather from across the nation, from the Commonwealth, and from the nations of the world to mourn our loss. To remember her long life of selfless service and in sure confidence to commit her to the mercy of God, our Maker and Redeemer.
O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory?
Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you.
Service in life, hope in death. All who follow the Queen's example and inspiration of trust and faith in God can with her say, we will meet again.
Go forth upon thy journey from this world, O Christian soul, in the name of God the Father Almighty, who created thee, in the name of Jesus Christ, who suffered for thee, in the name of the Holy Spirit, who strengtheneth thee.
Powerful images there. That is it for CBC Windsor News. For news anytime, you can go to our website at cbc.ca/Windsor. And you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I also just want to reiterate how grateful I am to all of you who came to say hello to me at Open Streets. It was honestly such a privilege to meet you. Thank you so much. Have a great night.